Oh, hey grade eights. Didn't see you guys walk in there. Don't mind me, I'm just checking on a few emails before our lesson today, which is on order of operations, by the way. Um, oh, awesome. I just won a $10 gift certificate from my favorite store, Sport Check. Hint, hint. Um, all I have to do is answer a skill testing question to win the gift certificate. You guys want to help me out? That'd be great. Okay, before we answer the skill testing question, hopefully win me the $10 gift certificate, I need to show you something about order of operations. Oh, so I ran the Queen City Marathon today, by the way, half marathon, 2 hours and 8 minutes, but anyways, let's go back to the lesson here. So a few things I want you to be aware of when we deal with order of operations, something called bed mass. You've probably seen this in previous grades, so it should be no surprise to you, but this is going to be what we need to know again. We need to refresh it for today's lesson. So bed mass basically is where every letter of bed mass stands for something. So the first thing you always do in order of operations is your brackets, your exponents, division and multiplication, and addition and subtraction. The one thing I want you to be aware of is when you come to division and multiplication, it's actually left to right. So it's whatever one you encounter first. So sometimes you'll do multiplication before division, even though in bed mass it looks like you always do division first. And the same thing for addition and subtraction. It's always left to right. Something to remember. Hopefully you learned that in previous grades. So we're going to be using this as we try and solve the problem and win me the $10 gift certificate. Alright, grade 8s, so hopefully you can help me out. This was the skill testing question that Sport Check asked me for the $10 gift card. So let's see if we can use the order of operations over here to solve this. So first thing I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to ask you guys at home to pause it for a second and try and figure this out yourself, and then I'll work through it with you, okay? Welcome back. Okay, let's take a look at this. We'll see what your answer is and compare it to mine. So as I look at my order of operations, the first thing I'm supposed to do is brackets. Well, I look at this and guess what? There's no brackets. Next thing I look for is exponents. Is there any exponents in here? Well, doesn't look like it. Exponents are those little things where you'll see like the number 2 and a little tiny 2 up there, which means 2 squared. I don't see that anywhere up here, so we go to the next step. Okay, so division and multiplication. This is where this left to right comes in. So I'm going to start working from left to right, and I'm going to see if I encounter any division or multiplication signs. Looking across, oh, the first thing I encounter is multiplication. Oh, and here's a division sign too. But remember, left to right. So the first thing I'm going to do is do the 9 times 6. So 9 times 6, well, 6 times 10 is 60, 9 times 6 is 54. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write that down here, 54. And when you do order of operations, it's a good thing to write down all your steps. It just keeps you organized. So now, I write the rest of the question. Plus 36 divided by 4, subtract 1. Beautiful. So let's keep going. Same thing, division, multiplication. No, addition. Oh, right here, I have a division sign. So what two numbers am I going to have to divide? I'm going to have to divide 36 by 4. Well, I know 4 goes into 40 10 times, so that's too much. I know 4 goes into 36 9 times. So I'm going to write my 9 down right there. And now what I do is I bring the rest of the question down. So in this case, I bring the 54 down. And there's an addition sign there. And I have a subtract 1. Okay, so let's keep working our way through this here. Order of operations, brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, we're all there. Now we're on to addition and subtraction. I have an addition and a subtraction here. I work left to right, So actually I'm going to go 54 plus 9. 54 plus 10 would be 64. One less would be 63. So I'm going to write that down. Write down the rest of my question. Subtract 1. So 63 subtract 1 is 62. That right there is my answer. Hopefully you got the same answer as me. And guess what? I get to keep the $10 Sport Check gift card. Awesome. Great news, students. I won the $10 gift card, so that's awesome. And since I was such a valued customer, they sent me another email, and this time they gave me a chance to win a $1,000 gift card. This must be my lucky day. Aside from running the Queens Air Marathon in 2 hours and 8 minutes, I as well have a chance to win $1,000 at Sport Check. Here's the problem. Since it's so much money, they made the skill testing question a little harder. So maybe you can help me out. I actually wrote it down here for us, and we'll kind of see if we can work our way through it. The main difference between this question and the previous question is now we have positive and negative integers. Welcome to grade 8. Grade 8s, this is a grade 8 problem that we're going to be working on here. Okay, so it doesn't really change. The fact that we have integers, it doesn't really change this over here. This still applies, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is brackets. All right. You are getting introduced to something called these hard brackets here. Now the reason they have these hard brackets is because, remember in previous lessons, anytime we had an integer like -6, to make it more clear, we put the bracket around it so you know that that's -6. Well, then when they put brackets on these type of questions, they have to put these hard brackets. So you'll see these hard brackets quite a bit this year in grade 8. So let's look at this question. -6 plus -2. I don't know if we've actually learned this year how to add or subtract integers. I think I have to give you a little mini lesson about adding and subtracting integers before we can even begin to win this $1,000 gift card. So tell you what, since you can tell I'm filming at my house right now, I'm gonna look around and see if I can see if my son or daughter have some toys I can borrow, and maybe I can make this a little more I can figure out a way to teach you this and make it easier for you to solve that. Okay, so give me a second. I'm going to pause the tape and I'm going to look for something that I can help with. Alright, grade 8s, good news. I found a couple toys here. I think it'll help us understand a bit better how to add and subtract integers. So say hi to my son's Cookie Monster doll and this Minion cup. Now the easiest way I think I can teach adding and subtracting integers is put it in concrete kind of terms. So I want you to pretend that this cup is actually the basket of a hot air balloon, and Cookie here is going to go for a little ride in a hot air balloon. 0 represents ground level, so he's going to start at 0. Oh, careful Cookie, don't roll away. He's at 0. Okay, now there's a couple things to think of. In Cookie Monster's hot air balloon here, he's either going to go up or he's going to go down. What I want you to think about is, if we want him to rise, we need to add more balloons full of helium. And so what we do is anytime you see this addition sign, or positive, when we add integers, basically what we're thinking is we're adding helium to the balloon. So in this case, if I were to add 3 balloons of helium, it would look like this. It'd be +3, right, in brackets. And what would happen to Cookie here is and he'd go up this high. Okay. Now think about it again. What would happen if I added another 5 balloons of helium? Well, he's at 3. If I added another 5 balloons, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's way up here. And on our number line, he's right here, which happens to be +8. Now, what does that look like when we use integers here? Well, we were at +3. and we added 5 more helium balloons. So it would look like this. Positive 3, put a plus sign, and then in brackets we put what we did, and in this case we added 5 more balloons. And that gave us an answer of, we went all the way up the number line to positive 8. Now, hopefully that makes sense for you guys. Now the other thing is, let's see what happens here now. Now Cookie's been up here, he's at positive 8 on our number line. That's where we're going to start for this next question. Now, the one way he's going to get down, there's a couple ways he can get down, but one way he can get down is he can add weights to his basket, and what will happen is that'll drop him down. So if he's at positive 8 right now, you can see right here he's at positive 8. Well, one way he can get back down is if we add weights. So in that case, you need to think of weights being our negative numbers. So imagine he's at positive 8 here, and he adds 3 weights to his bucket. What's going to happen? Well, the weights are going to bring him down 3 spots. 1, 2, 3. So the way we would write that in algebra here is we were at positive 8, and we added 3 weights. In this case, the weights represented by the negative sign. So positive 8 plus negative 3 is actually equal to positive 5. Okay, so that's how we're going to look at that. Another thing, the last method we could do is let's take him back up here to positive 8. So he's at positive 8. Here's our third example. He's at positive 8. Now, Cookie's up here and he realizes, hey, I don't have any weights to get back down to the ground. So what can I do? And he starts panicking, and he's all in a shiver in there. So what he realizes, though, is he has scissors. So this time, instead of adding weights, he gets the bright idea, I could just cut away some of the balloons from my basket, and that will make me go down. So he's at positive 8, and now this time he's gonna cut away. So instead of adding, this time we're gonna do a subtract sign, and he cuts away 3 balloons. Now remember, the balloons are full of helium. They're represented by the positive 3, and this is why this looks pretty confusing until I put brackets around there. So imagine this, he's at positive 8, and then he wants to get a bit lower, so he cuts away 3 balloons, and he's going to float down to our answer, positive 5. So in this previous example, we added negatives, got to positive 5, and in this case we subtracted positives and still got to the same answer of positive 5. So let's see how that'll help us answer our skill testing question for the $1,000 Sport Check gift card.